Hello everyone, this is Pratiksha and I'm going to show you how to make this Sunflower Mandala Coaster. So the yarn we've used to make this coaster is the Aran yarn and a 5mm crochet hook. The particular one that we've used for this one is the Women's Institute Soft and Smooth from Hobbycraft. However, you can use any of the Aran yarns available in your local store. As you can see, we've used 4 colors here, and I will drop the names of the yarns into the description box if you wanted to use the exactly same ones. So let's get started. So to begin, we're going to begin from the center here. And we are going to first create our initial circle. So for our initial circle, you can either use your magic ring method or the other method, which is just by making a slip knot and chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Once you have chained 4, you go back to the first chain of this row. So the first ever chain in this row is if you skip 3 of them and the 4th one from your hook. You're going to slip stitch in there. So you go in, you pull through the yarn through that loop, and then you pull through the yarn again through this loop again. So that's your slip stitch. And now you're going to chain 1. And you're going to work your stitches into this tiny circle. Now here we're going to use the UK terminology, and we're going to make 9 double crochets. So you're going to go in to this circle, and into the same circle you're going to create 9 double crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Once you have done that, you can get hold of this tail and just pull it gently so that you can cinch closed this circle as much as you can. And then we can finish the row by doing a slip stitch into the top of the first chain from the beginning of this row. So I've just completed my first chain, and I'm just checking if I'm happy with the hole. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and then I'm going to just make a chain 1 and going to cut this yarn. Now I'm just going to pull this through like that, and I have completed my first row. I'm going to grab my next color, which is the yellow. Now in this row we have made clusters of 3 trebles each, but the trebles aren't complete, so I'll show you that in a minute. And we've got 9 of these clusters. So we should do 1 into every chain here, because we have 9 chains on here. So let's grab our mustard yarn and make a slip knot, hook into the slip knot, and now we will get hold of our first row. And you can begin anywhere wherever you want to start off. However, I like to begin just next to my yarn where I finished last. So I'm just going to go in there and pull up a loop, and then I'm going to make a chain, and then into the same little space I'm going to continue the rest of my stitches. So I'm showing you now how to make this cluster. So this cluster, you're going to yarn over, you're going to go into the same stitch as your chain 1 from the mustard color. You're going to bring it up. You've got 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through 2 only. You're not going to finish this off, and you will not, you'll leave it on. So you'll have 2 loops. Again, so I've just finished my first incomplete treble, and this is my first chain ones that I did. Now I'm going to do 2 more of these incomplete trebles into the same space. So again, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops only. So I'm not going to complete the entire treble like we normally do, yarn over, pull through 2 and pull through 2. I'm just going to do yarn over, pull through 2, and then I'm going to start my next treble. So at the moment it looks like I've got 3 trebles, but just for the first one, remember, it's going to look like this. We're going to have a chain 1 that we did from the beginning of the row, and then we'll have a treble that's incomplete. And then we are going to go again and do our last incomplete treble. So it will look like we've got 4 right now, but it's actually 3, and this is our first chain 1. So 4 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through all of them, and then we do chain 1 on the top. That's our first cluster completed. We're going to carry on doing the same cluster into each of these chains, and we should have 9 clusters at the end of it. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next cluster, and let's have a look at this again. So yarn over inside, pull through. Now I'm going to pull through 2 only. So that's my first one, first treble incomplete. Next one, so that's 2 now, and last incomplete treble. So I have got now, as you can see, 3 incomplete trebles, and this is my loop from the cluster before. So 4 loops. So yarn over again, pull through all of them, chain 1 on the top. Okay, then I'm going to go again into the next one. I'm going to keep on doing this type of a cluster pattern. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over, pull through all of them, and chain 1. So carry on doing this, and all the way around. When you finish, you must have 9 clusters of the same pattern, and feel free to pause this video if you need to. Carry on doing this. Again, same one. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over, pull through all of them, chain 1. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, pull through all of them, chain 1. And I think I've got, how many do I have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I've got 1 more now. So into my last chain, 1, 2, and 3. 4 loops, yarn over, pull through all of them, chain 1, and now I'm going to go into the top of this loop. So I'm going to go onto the top of the chain on the first cluster, which is this one. I'm going to go on there, and I'm going to slip stitch there to complete my round and to complete this yellow flower, just nicely tightly here, and then chain 1 and cut the yarn. Once I've done this row, as you can see at the moment, you can't really see the shape, this kind of a petal shape here. It's just very rounded, and it's more like a, can't really see the shape. Now the shape will start forming when you start the next row in green. So now with the green one, we're going to need to do 4 trebles into every gap between the clusters. So there's just normal trebles, so 4 of them, and no spaces, no chains in between, just straight into the next space, and 4 trebles all the way around. So let's grab our green color and make our slip knot. And you can start from any of the gaps. So let's locate, there's a gap here. So make sure you're locating the gap correctly, because you don't want to go into the wrong space. Okay, so I'm going to pull it up a loop and make a chain. I'm going to make another chain. So now that's chain 2 I did. Now this is classed as our first treble into this space. I'm going to do 3 more trebles because we need 4 trebles in total into every gap. So you're going to do 4 trebles total. Just finished my first gap. Now I'm going to go into the next gap, which is here. So I'm just going to do my 4 in here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. After this, we are going to go into the next one, and we're going to get the same number of clusters, 9 clusters of 4 trebles each this time. So carry on doing that into every gap between the clusters, and you will end up with 9 clusters. Okay, and we're going to continue this till the end of the row. Just to make sure you're doing it in the right gap and not between the stitches in the clusters. So yeah, that's 4. Yeah, the next one is here, and I'm just going to do 4 trebles there as well. And then I've got the last one in this gap between these 2 clusters. And now I'm going to complete this row by slip stitching on top of this chain here. So we had a chain 2 in the beginning, and on top of it there's another 3rd chain. We're going to go into that space and we're going to slip stitch over there. And now I'm going to do a chain 1 and cut my yarn. So now you can see the petals. The shape is much more clearer. And now we will do our last row. As you can see, this row is more like a scalloped effect, and this one has 5 trebles each in every gap between the clusters in the row before. As we are doing this in a circular form, we have to keep increasing at the same time to make it nice and flat and make it nice and good shape, and so it doesn't curl or it doesn't lose its shape. So that's why we need to increase our stitches as we go along. So let's grab our last color and making a slip knot on it. I'm going to go into any one of these clusters between. I'm going to start maybe from here. Let me start from here. So I'm just going to go in and pull up a loop and make a chain 1. So now I've got a chain 2. I've got 2 chains. This is now my first treble, classed as my first treble. I'm going to now make 5 more trebles into this gap. So this is our first 2 chains, which is classed as our first treble. 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I've just done 5 trebles in total. Carry on doing 5 trebles into each of these gaps. And this is our next one. So carry on doing this till the end of this row, and feel free to pause the video if you need to, or you can carry along if you want. Make sure you're counting the stitches, because if you have more or less stitches in any of these, the shape will look different. So make sure you are counting them. And as you can see, there are no chains in between these clusters. We're going straight into the next gap immediately as we finish the cluster before. We're going to go straight into the next one and make our 5 trebles in there. And again, we will have a total of 9 of these clusters in this color as well. So 9 clusters of 5 trebles each in between the clusters before. If you always want to, it's always good to double check if you have lost count of the number of trebles that you have done. Okay, I've got the last one to do here now. So I'm going to go into this space and make my last 5 trebles. And now it's time to complete this row with a slip stitch. So I'm going to go onto the top of the chain 2 space here. So that's a chain 2 from before, and then we are going to, when we started the row, we did a chain 2, and we're going to go on the top here. So you see this first chain. I'm going to go there and make our slip stitch on top of that top chain. And nicely, make sure you're nicely pulling it, making it a little bit tighter. And then chain 1, and we're going to now cut our yarn, and then we're going to pull this through. So as you can see, all our rows have been nice and secured by a nice knots and slip stitches. Now what we have to do is make sure that we have sewn our ends in with a needle, sewing needle, and you will get this beautiful Sunflower Mandala Coaster, which you can give to your mum for Mother's Day, or you can gift it to your friends or teachers. It's just a nice summer coffee table thing to have at home. And so I hope you like this pattern and you enjoy this. Until next time, take care, bye.